Good. Hey, how you doing? Sure. See you, Rep. John.
Yeah, been a couple days.
You guys behave over there.
You get us together.
I know.
Yeah,
Be careful, chief of police is over here, I'll throw the cuffs on.
Wouldn't be the first time, Kyle.
It's just a rubber switch.
The 7th? Yep. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Are there any additions or corrections to the consent calendar?
So move.
A motion, do we have a second?
A second.
Roll call roll?
Commissioners Piggers.
Aye.
York. Aye. Carlson.
Aye.
Mayor Lindstrom.
Aye. Okay, next on the agenda is visitors to be heard. Are there any visitors tonight that would like to be heard? Nope, so we'll move on to old business. Nope, wait a minute, we have one more thing here. We have an annual update from Harold Timmerman, the Emergency Management Director.
Good evening, Harold Timmerman, Lincoln County Emergency Management. Like I mentioned, when I made the appointment, sorry I missed the first time I was supposed to come here. We had a tragic thing over west of us in a grain bin I was dealing with right after that, so couldn't get here that evening. But anyway, just wanted to come here and basically say hi, meet the new council person, and there's Paul too. And number one, to say this is a lot nicer meeting than I had to come to last year, right after the flood. And you know, as frustrating as that was, and as inconvenience as it was, that's basically what it was. Nobody got hurt to speak of, nobody lost their life. Going to Iowa and they lost homes, completely washed off foundations. We had a mess here with homes being flooded. And hopefully we can work towards a plan to make that not happen again. Sorry, I didn't turn noise down here. But anyhow, after that, when we got to working with FEMA, they were very happy with the room above here to set up the visitor center. It worked well for them, and they make every effort not to damage anything, scratch the floor or whatever, and I don't think they did. Because I think the city came through when they were done, right, and looked it over. Yeah, good. Because they, in other places where they've been, I've seen them refinish floors if they've made a mess or scratched something. So they try and be as careful as they can. And that was a godsend for people that had questions about home damage. And even some of the township people came in to talk to the FEMA people here. We used a process called Crisis Track to do our damage assessment, and it worked well. The cities used it that were involved, and all the townships used it. And with that program, as an example for a township, if you had a road damage, you could go to the damage on that road, activate the app on your phone or your tablet, and hit start and walk the distance or drive the distance of the damage, and it'll tell you how much it's going to cost to fix it. The amount of gravel, if you need road base. And now they're getting in so they can even have culvert damage or damage for culverts in there too. So that's now it's the only way we can do damage assessment. There is no other way. It's the state brought that forward for us and used it a few times, and now it's mandatory. So glad to have that program. And then when FEMA did come around, they could use the data from Crisis Track and go look at that, and sometimes not even go to the site if the pictures were accurate and the GPS points were on there. So this app puts that all on there for you, and you can download pictures right at the site. So We're also working on a notification system called Regroup. It's almost in place. Our IT's got to do a little bit yet to get it on the county website, so most of the phones in the area are already inputted in there by the company that's doing this. There may be some that aren't, and then we want the option available for those that aren't already on there to just scan the box on the website and they can get into it if there's no cost to it. So even if you're working in Sioux Falls or somewhere on vacation, you're gonna get the notification that there's a severe storm coming here, or if we have a hazmat incident where we have to isolate an area because of a hazardous chemical, we can draw a circle on a map and it'll notify everybody within that circle. So it's quite a program. You don't have to, like I said, most people are already gonna be in there, but if somehow your phone number isn't, you can put your cell phone number in there after we get it going, so.
Does that use the same system as like the Amber Alerts, the push notifications that just magically appear on our phones?
Yeah, it'll be like that, only it'll, I think with the Amber Alerts, you don't have to, I don't know if it uses the same system, but it's gonna be something very similar, so. And we can either do the whole county at once or isolate a square mile if we want to. So if there's bad weather coming through the southern part of a county and we need to notify for a tornado, we can do just that part, or the northern part, or just Canton alone. So, and we haven't changed our siren policy. We still use it only for tornadoes. We don't activate them for severe storms. And in Sioux Falls, Regan did add an option to theirs. They're gonna notify or set their sirens off for severe storms also. So to me, it just makes it more confusing. And as far as I'm concerned, sirens are gonna be an obsolete thing down the road with all the apps that everybody has on their phone and the different options of notifications. Well, we've got them and we still use them, and we'll continue for the time being, so.
And Harold, when it comes to tornadoes, you will sound the sirens if a train spotter or someone else sees a.
Or if the weather service sees indication of rotation or a tornado on radar, they notify dispatch and they'll set off the siren.
But a simple tornado warning does not result in a siren.
Yes, it does.
Well, it does.
A warning means it's here.
Okay.
A watch, it doesn't do anything.
Watch, no warning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if there's a tornado warning comes out for Canton, the sirens are gonna go.
Okay.
Or for any part of the county or the whole county, whichever it happens to be, so.
For Lincoln County, it's going to kick off, or for Canton, it's gonna kick off.
Depending on which area is involved. If it's the whole county that's threatened, it'll be for everybody, every city. And if it's just the southern part or the northern part, it'll be just those parts.
Okay.
With that, any other questions you might have for me, I'll try and answer, or find somebody that does know the answer. We're a little unsure how FEMA's gonna work down the road, but there's been some places that have tried to get disaster declarations after some things have happened and they've been denied. So I'm not sure how that's all gonna go in the next year or two here, so we'll have to wait and see. And if you ever do have a question, don't hesitate to call my cell phone. I know most of you already have it, or some of you do, and if you don't, City Hall's got it too, so. Other than that, I have nothing further unless you have something for me.
Anybody?
We sure don't need a 100-year flood in another 10 years. That was almost a 500-year flood, I think they'd have to call it,
It's a
so.
1,000 year, I think they said.
Yeah, that's way beyond measure.
Thank you.
With that, thank you.
Thank you, Harold.
Thanks,
Yeah,
So we have no old business, so we're gonna move on to new business. Rotary is asking for, or is requesting a raffle, and the Canton Rotary presented a raffle request. The tickets will be sold from August 1st to September 12th at $25 per chance. There will be a $50 weekly prize. Dates of drawings will be each Monday night, during each Monday night football game in the 2025-2026 NFL season. And this requires a motion, a second to sign.
Motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any other questions? If not, then I'll call roll.
Commissioners Garbers,
Aye.
York, Carlson,
Aye.
Biggers.
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. Next is the employee raise for Daniel Herron. He's a utilities operator and he has a CDL med card. A step in is recommended for acquiring this. With the step increase, it would put him at grade 9, step 6, which has a wage of $25.02 per hour effective June 29th. And a motion is, and second are required for this request, or his step increase, I mean.
I'll motion.
Second.
Okay, you call roll.
Commissioners York,
Aye.
Carlson,
Aye.
Biggers.
Aye.
Garbers,
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. Next is a request for a special event retail malt beverage license. Lisa's here with the chamber, and it's for the Canton Area Car Show, correct? Okay.
We are requesting to be able to sell beer and seltzers, all canned products on July 27th during the hours of 11 to 4 during the car show event, and be able to also have open container within our perimeter. The only way anybody can carry any alcohol that day would be if they have one of the wristbands that has been verified through ID.
So is it one place selling it or who's selling it?
We would have one spot in the park to sell it.
Spot.
Yep,
And you are fencing that area?
no, we are barricaded so that they would be able to walk amongst
Oh,
the
yeah,
cars
okay.
is what we're requesting.
Okay.
And we'll have garbage cans and signs at each area stating that if you leave that perimeter, you will get ticketed if you're carrying an open container.
And who's doing the license checks and are they selling the wristbands or are the wristbands free and then they buy the alcohol?
The wristbands will be free, they'll buy the alcohol, and we will have different committee members, board members from the chamber, community members rotating throughout the afternoon.
You done this before?
No. Valley Springs allows it during their car show. Worthing does during their car show. Lennox does. And so we would like to do it for ours if at all possible.
Harrisburg did it before they moved the car show to school property.
And this is just for the special events retail malt beverage license. Next on the agenda is for a request for open container.
Correct.
So, do we have a motion and a second?
I'll motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Or do you have any other questions?
Have
Anybody?
we reached out to anybody in their concern of the cars with alcohol near them? Like, when I went, I kept my arms back and like stayed away from the car. There's some very, are we concerned about alcohol being spilled in the car?
No, we're not.
Less concerned about that than the kid with his ice cream cone, probably.
Correct. And a lot of your car guys like to be able to sit and have a beer or two in the afternoon when it's so hot. So,
And they, almost all of them have signs that say, stay away, don't touch the car.
correct.
Right.
So,
That's my only concern.
But it's hard not to get good pictures if you don't get really close.
Okay, if there's no other questions, you want to call roll?
Commissioners Carlson,
Aye.
Biggers.
Aye.
Garbers,
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. And the next thing on the agenda is the request for the open container in this area,
in that perimeter,
Yep.
yes.
perimeter. So, any other questions on that? Kind of runs with the same thing, but
Motion.
thank you. Can you call roll?
Commissioners Biggers,
Garbers.
Aye.
York.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Hi,
Thank you very much, guys.
thanks, Lisa.
Appreciate it.
Okay, last thing on the agenda is a change order for Alliance Construction. They submitted the change order for $12,571.17 for the West Road structure replacement. And a breakdown of the charges is attached to the board docs. And motion and second is needed for this change order.
I just had a question. So when I looked at the second page, it says the, water main adjustment requested by Alliance has not been included in this change order. Is it, it's on a different change order? Is it a change
It's-
order to come?
It's a change order to come.
Okay.
Explain what you just asked.
What she just asked, on the second page, she's.
So second page,
I
last
read that too,
item.
and I didn't quite follow that one.
Yeah, I
either,
was
so.
just trying to figure out why we're mentioning it.
Order tied to the line that they hit.
No, that's a change order. When this was,
So an increase, it looks like.
when this was originally designed, nobody knew exactly where or how deep any of the utilities were. So they made a bid based on the line being here, and it had to be dropped 3 inches. When it come to it, the line was shallower, or the design had to put down a little bit deeper, so there's be a little bit more cost for lowering the line. And I think at the time they did this one, that hadn't been fully discovered yet. They knew potentially it was going to be there, but they didn't have a number yet.
The sewer had to drop, but not nearly as much as the water. If I remember right. Yeah.
I think the water, they dropped 6 feet.
Right.
And so I think they went 6 inches or a foot, because they can get that and have that turn out okay.
I had a picture to illustrate the change order. You can count nearly 10 rings of extension on that manhole. You really should only ever have one ring at the top, but the years of raising West Road up resulted in 10 separate rings. And so when you look in there, it looked curved because those rings.
It
You can
shifted.
see it. You can see it at the top.
Yeah.
So this is before me on this agreement between the township and the county and the city. So is the city the only one paying for this bill, or is this
Yes.
portion of this going to the township, or?
The utilities are ours.
Yeah, I asked you to look at this and
Pardon?
No, because we started this project with JSA has been the one looking at it.
have they reckoned that.
JSA and Meyer and Bill both. Bill and our own team has been out there quite a bit on this project.
How would water not, I mean, it's still $2,400. How was that not marked? We didn't mark water, or wasn't where we said we marked it, or?
There was a series of things that had happened. Everything was marked at one point in time. They asked for a remark because somebody pulled the flags out, so I don't know, and nobody's for sure in the remark if it didn't get flagged specifically. But even when we went out there, the flags were in a pile. They had all been pulled out, so
It didn't look like somebody picked out the wrong flag. It looks like somebody purposely took all the flags out and put them in a neat pile.
we're not 100% sure if it was marked or wasn't marked. At one point, we know it was marked for a fact, but when that was exactly, since they remarked it a few different times, we're not sure. Alliance, us and Alliance both went and fixed it. Alliance did all the digging, we provided all the parts, and then Alliance kind of agreed to split the costs with us
On late.
on labor.
Most of this though is.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, but somebody pulled the flag out, it's not our problem.
I agree with you 100%, Commissioner Gerbers. The problem is we don't know when those flags were pulled out or if.
It's not our problem, that's why you hire an engineer, and that's why somebody signs off that they, you don't dig if you don't see a flag.
It has caused us plenty of heartburn as well.
So I don't know what we wanna do about that.
It'll be something that's top of mind if they ever get low bid on one of our. We unfortunately were not in the driver's seat on this project. No. You'd like to think Lions would just eat it, but they'd probably send it over to the township, who probably has even less ability to pay the bill than we do.
It's their problem, not
I
ours.
was gonna say, again, not our concern.
But if you guys had more or less agreed to something, then I guess.
We had not. I was actually quite stubborn about it.
Well,
They
that's why,
pushed it anyway.
yeah, well, then we pushed back on them and that's why it's cheaper than what they originally wanted to fix it.
So we're talking about, let's talk about it. It's a project. Are we gonna have more problems, or is that where we're here?
On this particular one, there's just about done. They should probably be done packing around the culverts, and they won't have a hard surface on it by the end of the week, but it might be drivable by the end of the week. So, yeah, it's very much just about done. I wouldn't think we'd have another issue with our utilities on this project right now.
No, just a change order for the modification, since I put them down deeper than what they originally estimated.
So what's coming on this other thing that's not included that Sarah asked about?
I don't know if I've seen a number on that.
But it's at least something we don't feel like we're being snookered on. It's,
Can you explain what they're coming back as with? I mean, what are they coming with?
it's the fact that they had to put the pipe deeper than we thought, because it wasn't where we thought.
Or deeper or shallower than what we expected. That line was put in the late 60s, early 70s, and nobody was real sure exactly where it's at or how deep it was. And the depth is what got us in the end.
So is it in the bid that they are bidding that's subject to, have to be lower?
Yes, they
Are
had,
we gonna discuss this when we get the bill?
when the bids went out, they knew that they were potentially gonna have to lower the utilities. So they estimated, whatever, let's say 2 feet, they had to lower them. Now they have to lower them 6 feet, which is an additional cost. Because we're not clear on how deep that water main was.
Well, I'll make a motion, we pay number 31, which is the 10,171, and we discuss the other, when the project's done. That'll be my motion.
Okay? Do a second?
Second.
One call roll.
Commissioners Garbers, York, Carlson,
Aye.
Biggers,
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. Okay, that is the end
So do we
of.
need to motion to table the other two items?
Not necessarily.
We're just gonna do this part of the change order.
I just approved the change order for the 10, not for the.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so there's nothing else on the agenda, so now we'll have some commissioner dialogue. I just want to remind everyone that it's cleanup week, all week. Bring your things out to the rubble site. So don't forget, don't leave it in your yard. Chris,
Only for those things that are taken at the roadside.
all the things that are taken at the rubble site, not extras. Sarah,
I had nothing.
Paul,
Just talking about what you just talked about, I mean, what kind of sign up did we have?
Four houses is all. Some took them, there were a few that called, and when we explained what we were taking this year, they decided to not ask to be on the list. I think the biggest thing that people are asking to get rid of that we're not addressing is furniture, upholstered furniture. That's where we're getting the most questions on.
So has anybody signed up to pick up?
No, unless I'm wrong.
Not last time I looked at it, which was about 3 or 4 o'clock today.
Driving around town, you see a few piles in front of people's houses that are not on the list, and the items are not things that we would pick up anyway. But there was a noticeable increase in usage at the rubble site today compared to a normal Monday. So it is getting utilized with it being the normal items, but no fees on everything except for ACs. Don't want to miss that,
Refrigerants, yep.
but it is getting utilized more than it normally would.
So these 4 people know that it was only if somebody signed up to do the work, right?
The volunteer, yeah, that they had to bring it to a curb, we still need volunteers to pick it up.
So I won't be around Saturday.
Anything else? Do you have anything, Jackie?
No.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
Call roll.
Commissioners York,
Aye.
Carlson,
Hi.
Biggers,
Aye.
Garvers,
Aye.
Mayor Lundstrom.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Have a good night, Jackie.
Come see you home, check out that. I think that, oh, I know. You have to be evening time.
Yeah, because it can happen anytime between now and Saturday.
Yeah.
If
We
they're
have a trailer and pickup and arms.
Tonight I saw that Canton is going to be on Kello Land News for a good story regarding, I have a feeling it's gonna be Peter